But yeah, we got Anár, aka Sythren, against xeSeek. It'd be a Night Elf versus Orc matchup, and it seems their first map is going to be Concealed Hill. I believe I've seen Sythren play once or twice in the past, but I honestly do not remember too much of his play, like what type of playstyle he favors. So could be some new stuff here for me to see. I do know how xeSeek plays though. Oh yeah, let me change the title, as well as I will enable booster in a second. Sythren versus xeSeek. Any group? I don't even know. E, I mean? Yeah, E. Group E. Yeah, let me enable booster. Okay, hopefully booster turns on or is active, but okay, it looks like it's turning on. Nice. Okay, so xeSeek favors the Farseer, and we do indeed see a Farseer. xeSeek, our purple orc, spawning at the top right, and Sythren, aka Anár, our red night elf at the bottom left, is going for a demon hunter with a pretty standard opening for archers, which is definitely more standard with demon hunter. Usually you don't see too many hunters play with demon hunter, as a first hero at least. And we do see the war mill coming down now for our orc player. A bit late, so he might actually be going for a tech as soon as this peon comes out, and he does. And then after he gets another 50 wood, he will set up a barracks for headhunter production. So he wants to get tier 2 as soon as possible. Very good item, however, for our elf player. Circlet is really nice, and he's already finished the creep while xeSeek is halfway across. Now it looks like he's looking to meet our orc player midway and start getting burns off, or at least keep him away from his base so the wolves do not do as much damage. Wolves will still be annoying here, and you won't really kill any, but as the elf you actually still have to deal with them, because otherwise they deal way too much damage to wisps, and they also just have way too long of a duration to outlast them. Yeah, we do see Sythren just kind of turtling for now. And this is oftentimes what you have to do against a Farseer play. It's really hard to move out when there's the threat of wolves just running in to attack wisps. You have to wait until you have at least a force of like 3 archers maybe, or you know for sure that the orc has decided to start creeping rather than harassing. You see a little sneaky wisp here. xeSeek's actually gone for his third set of wolves now without much damage at all though, so definitely more beneficial for our elf player. And he does have 3 archers, which can actually fight off wolves decently well. Less so if the hero is here. We see Boots of Speed picked up. Probably a pretty good pickup. Actually sort of missed us around there, but I do believe he actually got the wolf kill, which is pretty huge. And yeah, Boots, of course, like I said, will be pretty strong here. Little miss micro on the DH. You actually have to click ahead of the unit and then right click it when you're close if you want to ensure you're getting all these hits off. But I mean, not a big deal. It's doubtful he would kill this wolf anyways. Yeah, goes in but expires. Let me also switch this. Tend to like putting more focus on the game rather than having my face and socials all over when I'm casting. So took them off. Let's get back to the game. And yeah, now we see the orc has now backed off. He reached his count of 3 headhunters, second hero coming out, and he does favor the Blade Master as a second hero against Elf, with a priority on Mirror Image actually. So once his second hero comes out, he's actually quite vulnerable because Blade plus Farseer doesn't really have much ways to just get a hero away from them. So this demon should be able to freely run in and get burns if he wants. And he actually goes for a Dark Ranger. Definitely not a common choice, but also not a bad choice. If you can start picking off the headhunters with some Focus Fire and Black Arrow, you can get a huge count of skeletons right away and just overwhelm the orc through that. Especially because you oftentimes will also not see walkers. Sometimes you will if they go like more of a Walker Tauren build, but oftentimes I feel like they prefer Shaman, or in Seek's case, I think he might actually even prefer Witch Doctors in some cases. But yeah, we do see the Demon Hunters kind of running around trying to scope out where the orc is. Dark Ranger did manage to get level 1.7 already. Slippers, pretty good item for both elf heroes. And we see the orc unsure of where to go because he knows he just got spotted. Ooh, mana burn, baited on the illusion there. Already seeing the effects of illusions doing some work. Yeah, this is the scary part about headhunters, is your first hero that runs in melee like this can take a lot of damage real quick. Ooh. Oh my god. Needs to be careful here with his Dark Ranger, almost out of range. Okay. He did pull back into TP range. He sees the Witch Doctor and he picked off. Was it only one headhunter in the end there? I think this was an archer. This was the headhunter, and I don't see other corpses, so yeah. Not great for our elf player. One headhunter for one archer, and he lost his TP as well. And I think the key point for our elf player is actually to get some levels. A level 3 demon could do a lot of work here. I say that, but it is also, like I was mentioning earlier, this sort of orc lineup with Farseer Blade, and Blade being the second hero, is actually pretty vulnerable with not having any like stuns or heals. So he can put some pressure here. And he does not have a staff though, so this invuln is the last thing the Demon Hunter has before he has to just back off. He will potentially, does not get the Headhunter, has to back off now. Demon tanked a bunch and yeah, just no kills. Ooh. Careful! Oh no! Okay, Boots of Speed should be good for him here. Seek should turn around and pick off this archer when he has the chance. Oh, he missed it! This archer shadow melded in daytime. Just totally went unseen by the headhunters. But yeah, for our night elf player, okay, he is going bears. I do like bears typically against headhunters, even though it's a really weird dynamic sometimes. Sometimes you just do not have enough, and the focus fire from headhunters plus casters just melts the bears way too quickly. Oftentimes they also have a TC for stomp. We do not see that here, we see the Blade Master instead. But Blade Master can also pose a threat with, once he gets level 3 and has 2 illusions coming out each time, you really need a lot of Wisp burn just to get rid of those illusions. Or Dryad Abolish, I guess, can work. But so far, no Dryads mixed in, just pure bears. Yeah, I do think this can be really strong for our Night Elf player. and he is looking to finally get his levels up. Level 3 Demon will help a lot. You really want that level 2 burn. And level 3 Dark Ranger is also pretty key, because if you can get some... I don't really know what the upgraded... Does it just go from lesser Dark Minion to just Dark Minion? And then greater? Normal Dark Minions from level 2 Arrow will definitely help a lot. They get, I believe, a bit more health, more damage, and they might even get some armor. I'm not sure on that. Orc player has his third hero, has his Orb of Lightning, extra tankiness with Talisman. He did not get a ward placed here, which would have been really nice for him. But our elf player is not looking to creep jack or punish this. He's just looking to continue creeping on his own, going for the big red dragon, and should be able to take it quite easily, especially with bears here. This is the type of force that's actually really good against this dragon, unlike my force of like 5 archers and level 1 treants and no orb of venom. But yeah. And we do see some key level ups on both sides. 3-3 for the elf, but 3-3-2 for the orc. And a Medallion of Courage is actually pretty nice for the TC. It's a lot of extra tankability and strength, a little bit of damage, and of course, the big one is the Intelligence. Getting extra mana on the TC can help a lot. You really want as many stomps as possible, and the more mana you have, you know, the more stomps you can get, but also the more times a DH has to burn that hero while the other heroes are still getting their spells off. So we will see plenty of mirror images coming out to just tank a bit, and we'll see if Sythren maybe produces a couple wisps here and starts bringing some so he can dispel those illusions. But he'll probably just fight straight up here. He did not manage to buy another TP though, so this fight he has to actually somewhat commit to. And a very nice stomp here, hits almost every bear as well as an archer. We see Roar coming out. Not sure if he'll find time to rejuve, especially after a Roar scroll and stomp comes out from the orc again. We're seeing some nice focus fire from the elf, however, just going straight for the back line, ignoring the TC. This sort of open positioning is helping a lot, but the Dark Ranger a little bit misfocused here. You really want to get some of those black arrows on the headhunters so you can start getting skeletons. And yeah, our elf finding himself somewhat in an awkward position now. I do think he did okay at the start, getting to the Zerkers in the back, but the problem was he just didn't have a heal scroll, and his Dark Ranger was not getting minions off there. There could have definitely been at least 2 minions, and those 2 minions could help to continue killing more headhunters and just, you know, keep getting more minions. And once you keep getting more minions, it's hard for the orc to keep up against that. But yeah, we see how scary this sort of army can be, and he has reached a level 3 TC already. Very scary whenever you see Orc Tri-Hero all level 3. This is for Washed Up League. It's a Group E match with Sythren versus my clanmate xeSeek. Nice little poke here, getting a headhunter. And because the TC has like no mana, he can actually afford to do this. There's no lockdown with Ensnare, no lockdown with Hex. There's really only the TC for Stomp, and TC is currently running dry. So very good awareness by Sythren to go in there. And he has mixed in a couple of MGs now. I do believe he has the upgrades for them as well, because he's queuing another MG rather than upgrades. And this is actually a pretty strong force. Doesn't need to be a little careful with his DH, but he has an invuln, which should be plenty to keep it alive, as well as 1 bear that he can unmorph to rejuve during that invuln, which is what I would like to see. Yeah, he is going for it. Does get the rejuve off. Very nice play by Sythren there. A little short on mana to morph back, and he actually manages to pick off the blade right before the TP goes off. That was much better for our Night Elf player. Now his force has some MGs to taunt and just distract a bit. His DH is getting to be quite the beast here, and that invuln is huge, especially when combined with a rejuve in between. Our Orc player, however, going for an expansion, has a tower already up, but a very nice scout from Sythren. He used the lab to reveal it right when I also looked over there, and he is aware of it. And MGs plus bears plus DH are pretty good for taking out towers. Like, this is the type of army you actually want if you're taking out towers, not, you know, not those dryads, not those talons. You got these big ol' MGs slapping some trees, punching with their rock fists. And it looks like he's actually going to just cancel the haul and then back off. Probably the wise play, because he might not necessarily want to fight the orc right here. And so just getting rid of the town hall and getting out can be strong. He is looking to stick around a little bit, but he needs to be really careful with that stasis trap now there. Okay, he just decides to set it off. Very good use of the MG to just set off that stasis, especially because he does not have anything to currently effectively take out a stasis trap. He really only has a Dark Ranger for range, and a stasis has 100 health. This stasis, however, does go off. We see it hitting 3 heroes. No stomps, however, anymore, because still low mana on the TC. A shop getting set up, though, which can be quite strong. I think I might have actually preferred him to set the Great Hall here, because it should be able to fit here. And then you just have the towers in front, rather than here. I'm not sure. I think this would probably be better. And then maybe the shop. I don't even know. I feel like you don't really want to make this a choke point either, so I'm not sure. Maybe this offers more space. Yeah, Sythren deciding to just back off, get some more creeping done. With the orc already being level 3 on all 3 heroes, I think this is not a bad play at all. Like, orc has already kind of hit his, you know, key hero levels, and he's quite a ways away from level 5. There's not many camps left besides Sythren's camps here. So just backing off and ensuring these camps for himself can be quite strong. He could honestly try to give solo XP to the DH. I feel level 3 Dark Ranger is really enough. Those level 2 Black Arrows and Dark Minions are quite strong. And I don't believe the Dark Ranger needs to hit 5 to like win the game, for instance. But the DH hitting 5 could be huge. And Dark Ranger 4, I mean, I guess you upgrade Silence. It does have its use, especially against, you know, TC running up front. But I don't know. I do feel he could have tried giving the DH all of the XP there. And DH could have been actually quite close to 5. Might have had another, what, 150 XP or something? Yeah, it's definitely an interesting try hero. I know that it's a Seek style. He really likes getting Blade second, and he likes going for Mirror Image. Against Elf in particular. I'm not sure how much he uses against other races, but he likes going Farseer first, because of how well Farseer can just poke away with wolves. And then he likes getting Blade second because of the utility of Mirror Image. It does leave him a little vulnerable because he has no lockdown with Stomp or Hex at tier 2. And he's also not going in Snare because he's going Headhunters and Witch Doctors. But Mirror Image is honestly quite a pain to deal with. This, however, is really awkward positioning. You do not want to get your Tauren caught out here. And this army from Sythren is very scary for an orc. Now, it's all going to be up to how well the stasis traps and heal wards work here, as well as how well Anár can engage and disengage, set off those stasis traps, and also trying to abolish or, you know, focus down all the wards that the doctors put down. Seek does have quite a lot of mana on 2 of the doctors, but 2 of the doctors are actually quite low, and a very nice burn actually. I think getting the mana low on the witch doctors is actually pretty important here. We do see another heal ward coming out as well, and this is starting to look worse and worse for our orc player. Sythren is getting a counter expo a bit late compared to Seek's. Seek is actually at quite a bank right now, and he would really like to shop for another protection scroll, an invuln, or another heal scroll, an invuln, and probably a protection scroll as well. Maybe mana potion on at least his TC. And yeah, we see Sythren doing the wise choice, just going to the other base, picking off the shop. He hasn't really produced any more food for quite a while because he's been at 70 food. Oh, this tree actually got canceled. I didn't see it, but I think he sent wolves over there. And wolves, as you know, are very strong at taking out buildings that are still building. Yeah, we see an engagement here. I feel like this position is better for the orc. However, the blade is dropping quite low, but the pulverize and as well as the wards can be really strong in this sort of choke where all the Taurens are hitting. However, Sythren's actually doing quite well for himself. If he can get some nice staffs off, make sure his DH doesn't die, he's actually pretty good. But it is starting to get to that point where the elf is starting to drop quite low. He has 2 weak bears, a DH that had to invuln, this heal ward that can't really be targeted, and this heal ward is really just MVP right now. It takes way too long to pick off these orc units with MGs, and yeah, this is the thing with this sort of position. You look a bit strong at the start, but then over time that heal ward just really gets so much value, and you have nothing to effectively target it because he only has like 1 Dryad and a Dark Ranger. DH has no protection right now. He doesn't even have a staff. Passes the potion, gets the potion off, but we will see him start to disengage here. And our orc army, the horde, is getting too strong. He has not mixed in shaman yet. Definitely having a couple of bloodlust as well as purge can be very strong in addition. But still, he is putting a lot of pressure on this elf, and the elf is going to have to back off here soon. And I'm not even sure if he'll be able to get his DH out. He does not have a staff currently. He can pass the potion, but if there was a surround there, the DH could have very well just been focused. There is 2 damage upgrades on the Zerkers, so there is a lot of damage output from our orc. MG's starting to drop. He's not able to get these out. And the supply count dropped from like 69 from Sythren to 38. And Seek, on the other hand, basically has not lost supply at all. Not much micro to the fountains right now. There is 2 weak units here, and another MG at base that maybe got staffed. I'm not sure if this is an MG that got produced or if it was an MG that got staffed mistakenly. Maybe something else died and he hit the healthy one. But yeah, he's not in a good position now. This orc army is way too tough to deal with if you do not bring wisps. You need to detonate the casters. It feels like you should be able to deal with doctors, but you just can't. You can't take out these wards easily enough. We do see some wisps here, and this is huge. He's actually detonated all of the doctors, But the problem is, I'm not sure if it's enough anymore because of how low his army count is. He's literally 34 supply against 80. So, a very, very uphill battle for our elf. Level 5 Demon Hunter, definitely strong. His only saving grace, honestly, is to get a bunch of skeletons from his Dark Ranger. But being able to focus these down with so little units is going to be really tough. You see his DH dropping. He will have to staff it out here in a second. Does get the staff off, but possibly return kill on the bear. A purge coming out from the Orb of Lightning. And yeah, he's got 2 armor upgrades now for his Tauren, and then 2 damage upgrades on his Zerkers. And Sythren calls it 1-0 for xeSeek after game 1 on Concealed Hill. Quite an interesting game. I do think Sythren was in a pretty good spot for a while, but maybe he just attacked too soon, was not fully prepared for that orc army, and could have also expanded slightly sooner to combat the orc expansion. I do believe Sythren's army was pretty strong, but I think a little too aggressive and didn't have a TP there. He could have had a TP and just tried to pick off some units and get out, especially because he can staff out bears and then just have MG's tank, right? So that could be the type of play style against that sort of orc, is just get a few frontline pickoffs, TP out, heal up. There's Moonwells, there's Rejuve, there's the actual fountains, and then get your own expansion up so that you're on even economy. And later, if you manage to reach 80 food with a strong army, you can start considering 2 Chimera Roosts and produce to 100 with 4 extra Chimeras. So I think Sythren played pretty well overall. He was pretty patient, which is what you need at certain points against that sort of army. But right towards the end, just committed a little too hard into a choke that made it especially hard to hit the wards, and couldn't disengage properly, even though there wasn't ensnare or much lockdown. He just kind of got some of his units trapped, some stasis going off, some stomp going off. Just couldn't overcome that. But yeah, game 2. At the bottom left, we have our Night Elf player, Sythren, aka Anár, going Demon Hunter again, and looking to creep this small green camp here, which is pretty standard on this map. And then at the top right, we have our purple orc player, xeSeek, going once again for Headhunter build, but this time he produces his barracks before the tech. So he wants to get his Headhunters out a little bit sooner and be able to maybe disengage and creep sooner. It could be a good call, especially knowing that Sythren plays Demon Hunter. He felt, I know last game xeSeek looked like he wanted to do more with the Rouse, but he just didn't feel confident in doing so because of the Demon Hunter. So maybe against that, the play is to have this barracks sooner like he is, and just get your Headhunters out and start creeping right away, rather than being reliant on having your Farseer harass to a lot for a while. He is, however, going to harass again, but seeing the Demon Hunter and having his earlier Headhunters, he, like I said, he might feel more confident to just back off sooner and start creeping. We see this Headhunter possibly going to spot the Wisp. I think it's just rallied currently to the Farseer, so was not on attack move and did not auto attack the Wisp there. Archer needs to be a little careful. Oh, he's actually going for the Detto and kill, but a nice resummon there from xeSeek. Only 20 XP given, and 20 XP for the cost of a wisp is definitely not ideal. Especially because it's not against something like, let's say, a rod that actually consumes charges and costs gold. It's just against, wolves that simply consume a little bit of mana.
A town is under siege.
Yeah, he has reached his count of 3 archers, which is when it feels more comfortable to back your, to move your hero around, and he is looking to try to get some burns off here. But nice play, keeping the Farseer back, having the headhunters and wolves, getting some damage in. And it can be hard to reach the Farseer if the orc positions correctly each time, especially with a little bit of blocking. But we do see boots picked up again, and that can definitely help out the Night Elf a lot to reach the orc hero sooner. Gets a burn off this time, and actually manages to snag the item. xeSeek was building at the time, putting up his shop, and now he's at no mana. There won't be much more done with this harass, but limiting the orc's mana is actually quite huge because of how much more difficult it makes their creeping when they can't just freely summon wolves the whole time. Sythren does decide to come back in. He is actually getting a bit of damage here, but he gets a lot of return damage as well that I'm not sure how worth it was. His archers starting to move out. And will we see a hero here? I would really like him to bring his DH back to his base. He needs to heal. But maybe he's planning to creep something first and then bring it back? No, it's just a little bit of miss micro. He definitely wanted to, he just kind of, let it stay there for a while. No one's perfect, right? But yeah, we see tier 2 finished. Will it be an instant tier 3? Or will we see hero plus production building first? We do see hero, and it is going to be the Blade Master once again. This time, Sythren does actually go for the Panda, which I think is the more common choice than the Dark Ranger. But honestly, I did feel like the Dark Ranger was decent. Maybe just missed his timings though. Or, pushed too hard at moments he shouldn't and didn't push hard enough when he should have. It's definitely very hard to decipher exactly what sort of timing you want against Berserker play, because these high counts of headhunters can be extremely difficult to deal with in the mid game sometimes. If you get caught out or commit too hard when you shouldn't, with like 1 damage upgrade, they can really rip through your units. Yeah, we do see some nice play here from Sythren. The blade did just come out as well though, and nice identification of which blade was the real one. We see another, he mistaked this one though, realizes after though, gets a nice burn off though, and that blade is already pretty useless at this point. He has no mana, he's lost 200 health, and he's made 2 huge purchases of heal potions, which is going to really set back his gold count a lot. Going to delay his tech potentially. They will find use eventually, but definitely quite costly for our orc player to get two heal potions right as soon as he reached tier 2. He is getting an archer pick off here, and it will be extremely difficult to pick off this burrow. Will he pass the TP in time? He did not pass the TP. Not sure how worth it was to pass the TP. But yeah, I think he committed a little too hard for that burrow. Committing for a burrow like that while the orc army is here is more so something that only humans with defend can do, or potentially players with an expansion. I think it is definitely Sythren's opportunity to just back out instead. The commitment there was really too much, and he took a lot of damage. He lost a couple archers, he lost his panda, and losing the panda, definitely very costly. You really want to get that up to level 3 as soon as possible. And now he's just... Ooh. That headhunter though. Now he's just giving a bunch of time to the Blade Master to get leveled up. Ring +4, pretty bad. I honestly think ring +3 is not too bad, but ring +4 is big yikes. The fact that this item is a tier higher and you only get +1 armor from the previous ring is really bad. Obviously you don't want mass ring +3s, but you know, one here and there can definitely have its use. It does provide a lot of extra tankiness. But yeah, we do see level 2 wolves now, which will be really good both for creeping and scouting. He also has wards now to scout. Sythren identifying it is once again going to be a similar play. Farseer, Blade Master, Mirror Image, Witch Doctors. So he just needs to find the right timing against it. And he is doing what he can right now. Knowing that the orc does not have lockdown is pretty good. And he has one more rejuve, and then he can also morph into a bear after, because he has master finished. That is quite huge for our Night Elf player, and I actually quite like him keeping the aggression here, even though his heroes are really lacking. You would love to be level 3 by now on both heroes, really. But yeah, now we see him creeping and immediately gets creep jacked. A bit predictable to just go to the center like that. And now he's going to have to use a rejuve and find the time to rejuve again on his actual bear, because it is also half health. So not ideal now, because now we're taking essentially the same fight, but the elf has lost half his bear's health and a rejuve while getting not much. Oh, whoops, didn't not scroll. Yeah, he did get a ruined bracers, however he loses his bear because of it. And that is quite costly. Losing your unit count early on against headhunters can oftentimes spell death, because if you're the one losing your unit count, then the critical mass just keeps building up. And he has 2 damage upgrades already as well, which is extremely scary. We do see Orb of Venom coming out though. Panda does have a lot of mana, but still level 2 Panda. Hasn't managed to find a good creeping position. We see some bears morphed here. Maybe should have got a roar off or kept this one for another rejuve, but otherwise this focus fire is actually pretty strong. He's getting the blade to immediately back off, and now he can start turning on these witch doctors and likely get at least a couple here because they're mispositioned. Oh, he actually manages to take the blade, and that's the boots of speed kicking in. He's going to take the Farseer too. Just right click heroes, lol. I honestly would have just turned and started attacking the Zerkers at that point, but actually a good realization by Sythren to realize that because he had boots of speed and because the orc has not opted for stomp, ensnare, or purge, that he just can't slow down that demon hunter. Just right click, lol. But yeah, that's definitely one of the weaknesses of Seek's build, is not having lockdown until you're like tier 3 and start having lightning orb, stomp, and stasis trap starting to get active from having lots of mana. So yeah, good realization. Boots of speed coming in clutch. Very nice play there. I do not pick up boots of speed enough myself, so I would not have really thought of that. I would have just, turned and tried to get a surround on like 3 of those Zerkers that were retreating because he had his bears in front of them. But that was definitely the right call. Just get rid of the heroes. I mean, why not? Try it out. Oh my god. Okay, so it looks like it's going to be standard opening from our elf player. This altar positioning indicates he wants to creep right away rather than harassing, let's say. And the orc player, I would assume it's going to be Farseer again, and I would assume he is also going to harass again. Normally I would predict you know, if this was like Hitman, that this altar position is set up to creep the trolls first. You know, loop around, sell your TP, buy a circlet, creep the trolls. But I think in Seek's case, it will be the Farseer harass as opposed to the Blade Master creep. We shall keep an eye on that. Oh yeah, I haven't figured out how to set the scores in Booster, by the way. But it is 1-1, and I could do... So I could try to do something. Can I just put this 1-1 like right there? does that look normal? Good enough, right? Probably. Okay. But yeah, 1-1 here, and it is going to be Headhunters. It is going to be Farseer. Interesting base build. Probably looking to put a production building or a shop here. More likely the shop. I feel like normally you'd put this burrow first and then the burrow farther back second, but I guess it doesn't really matter if you're making both burrows this early. But yeah, it is going to also be the Demon Hunter again for our Night Elf player. I definitely went through a phase like this myself where I felt like Keeper was just not doing enough and I was getting owned by Farseer, and having a mana burn felt so much nicer. So I can understand that. Demon Hunter, of course, can be quite powerful. Mana burn, very useful at just limiting opposing heroes' abilities to do anything. Sometimes he can be a little bit less effective against a Blade because Blade relies more on just right clicks, but he should always find some use later on against a second hero anyways, whether it be a Shadow Hunter, a TC. We see a ring coming out for the demon. I think with how the playstyle is here, this ring is actually not bad because the demon has been tanking a lot to get some burns off, but now the ring will help him, you know, not take as much damage, which will allow him to also not drain his Moonwells as much in the long run. Whereas I don't think a Claws here, for instance, would be that useful, because usually this Orc army is just too strong to be right-clicking down for sustained amount of time. So this might actually be second best behind Circlet in this sort of build, first build. See, as we can see here, he really doesn't want to be right-clicking this, he just wants to go in and get a burn and then just back off. Yeah, we see our Orc player struggling to find where to go, honestly. He did get 25 XP from that Whisk kill, but just hasn't managed to do anything. And this creep is quite a strong creep right now, but I guess with Headhunters you can, you know, do whatever you want. Demon Hunter is going to be a huge annoyance here. This is actually amazing for our Elf player. He should be able to actually steal this Ogre, maybe? I guess it does have a little too much health to steal it. It was close. I think if the Ogre had 50 or 100 less health, then the Demon Hunter for sure would be able to steal that. Oh, now he might be able to with Panda. We shall see how hard he commits here, but with Breath and Mana Burn, this could be a steal. DH is dropping quite low though. He needs to be very careful here. You don't want to expend your TP already. And now the item is looking like it's going to go to the Orc. Maybe just a little too aggressive there with his DH. And yeah, Seek goes in immediately, snags the item, and will look to back out. He does, however, get 2 of his Headhunters ensnared. I'm not sure if either will fall though. We don't see a surround coming out. Okay, with a breath, maybe even without. Okay, he does get it with the breath. Might have been able to get it without, but securing the kill. Still good. DH is back already. Boots getting him in the fight pretty quickly. And yeah, we do actually see the panda again, like he did in game 2, as opposed to game 1 where he went Dark Ranger. And xeSeek, on the other hand, getting a very high count of headhunters right away. He has plenty of wood, so we might actually see the second damage upgrade coming soon as well. Or maybe he will just opt to tech first, get that later. Ancient War setup. Should be able to creep this panda up quite quickly. This will get the panda, was it like 2.6 or 7 or something? I don't even know. Should be quite a lot of XP, and then just one more camp, probably the gold mine, should get it to level 3. Demon only level 2, but with no lockdown, no hex, no stomp. He's able to freely run in here again, just kind of poke away, get some mana burns, quickly identifies which blade was real by which one was doing damage, so very nice on him to do that. Does lose his Ancient War, but it has done most of its effectiveness already by securing the difficult Merc camp. And a very nice poke again, just getting the mana burn off. Minimal damage taken. No second upgrade yet. We do see another burrow jumping him to 50, and we do see the tier 3 tech. And continued mana burns. This Farseer dry again. And this is actually really good by Sythren to identify this. Just no lockdown, which lets the Demon Hunter with boots just freely run in and keep getting burns. He actually opted for the small green. I kind of disagree with that because now he has not reached level 3 yet. But he will still get level 3 off this camp. And he has some pretty good items for that demon later. The demon does need to reach level 3 soon though, because having the higher level mana burn, as well as just extra stats to go alongside these items that he will eventually pass over, will make the Demon Hunter himself a beast that the Orc has to always be aware of. Orc, on the other hand, does manage to snipe the consumable here. Gets mana burn before the illusion, but his army is still quite scary. However, with a level 3 panda, you can put in a lot of AoE damage, and the Orc needs to back off and get a heal scroll, which it looks like he is doing, or wants to do. Does need to be a little careful here. Honestly, I would almost like him to try to bait with the Farseer there, and then Staff of Telly home. But yeah, instead he just kind of runs back to his base, and Sythren doing a good job just right-clicking down stuff. You're gonna see a nice burn here. Farseer dropping weak, no mana on either of the Orc heroes, and this is really just a good timing from our Night Elf. He does need to be quite careful though. He does have a staff for the panda and a TP for his DH, but not much for rejuve. He has one rejuve he can do, the unmorph soon. But yeah, I'm not sure how much you want to commit to this. Orc is definitely weak. You do still have one more Breath of Fire, but Berserker has hit. Burrows can be quite scary. And killing the altar, I guess it's actually quite huge because there is a TC that wants to come out. Yeah, not bad actually. Because there's a third hero trying to come out from the altar, actually a good pickup. And we have some bear reinforcements getting the rejuves off. Elf is healthy once again. Still has the agi items on the panda, but yeah, it's looking like this is the sort of timing where the elf will need to disengage. His panda has run dry for mana. He does not have a Staff of Telly, so he can't Staff of Preservation out and then Staff of Telly back in. He could back off to the shop and do so, but I think it's about time you just don't overcommit. Most of his units are pretty tanky though, so we shouldn't really lose anything with a proper staff plus TP. Okay, he does just TP out immediately rather than staffing. Pass the TP to the panda. I'm not quite sure if it was the right call, because he didn't get much value out of there by staying that extra minute. Like after he got the altar, maybe it's time to just back off. Instead he lost his TP, but it's not a huge deal. And now his army is looking quite scary. This is a lot of bears. And bears are, of course, plenty powerful against an orc who does not have a bestiary. There's no like wyvern, there's no kodos to eat them, particularly kodos. Even ensnare is quite annoying for bears. The raiders themselves obviously die quickly, but ensnare to just make them not move is incredibly annoying for a bear. But this sort of strategy is not reliant on a bestiary. He just goes Zerkers, he gets a lodge, and so bears get a lot of value out of that. Kills off his archer. She lived a noble life, but it was her time. He wanted to get one more bear out. Yeah, we see an engagement here. The other archer also falling. Man, these people just hate archers. Sythren does need to be extremely careful here though. His army is definitely stronger, but if he gets caught in a bad position, if he eats a couple stasis traps, this orc army could start eating him up, and he does not actually have a TP. You know, obviously the orc is backing off. The elf army is stronger. But like I said, it can be quite scary, especially when things like this happen. He has 3 of his bears left at the base. And one more bear getting rallied into the army. Oh no, Sythren! What are you doing? Oh no! 3 bears! Oh no! He mismicroed. He hasn't realized. He is still quite strong with these heroes, like level 3 panda, but his army's just not here. You can't fight this orc army with so limited units. I mean, is this still good for him? Is he getting enough done in the meantime? He did kill... what was that? The barracks? He's killing the lodge? Is buying time for these bears enough? Oh my god. He does still need to be careful. He has no TP. He has 1 invuln as well as a double staff. And we see some rejuve coming off, which will be huge here. And the Farseer mispositioned. Oh, he's turned it around. Very good awareness from Aware to get that. From Anár to get that. And the blade as well just caught out.